even these companies it's even more evidence of why you must get a policy in place in your church, because these companies are racing to get policies in place so that these things aren't happening, because that could be catastrophic if the AI gets out for them and for us. Hey, welcome to the Executive Pastor Podcast. You can check out more resources at executivepastor.io. I'm Doug Parks, co-founder of IC. I'm with Bart Rendel, the other co-founder of Intentional Churches. Bart, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. Yeah, I got a question, Doug, for you. I'm not sure if you know the answer. Knowing you, you're going to make a really good guess, though. What percentage of churches do you think have an actual AI policy? And I don't even know if we really know. Maybe we are just guessing, but I've heard a number.
Well, if the numbers that are coming out about church leaders are telling us anything, is that we don't really know the numbers, because they span so wide apart from usage to policy. But I've seen estimates that it's 5% or less of churches have an AI guideline.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I think if you were generous and rounded up, let's say 5% actually do. So what does that mean, Doug? What's at risk there?
Oh, you're good. If you're an executive pastor, I guarantee you're going to be cleaning up these kinds of messes nonstop for the coming foreseeable future. Just think about that. Bart, if those numbers are even remotely close, it means you're 95% are on the way to a bad output by a bot and cleaning up a mess.
Exactly.
Somebody pays something they shouldn't have. Somebody says, "Oh, I'm going to download our database into a sheet and load it into a public." Oh my goodness. It's just the amount of pitfalls that are in front of a church leader right now without getting AI policy squared up is endless.
Yeah, I know. And it's, I just can't, we work with churches all the time. And, by the way, this is a fascinating, just to tell you how pervasive it is. I am, as an icebreaker, when I work with a church now, this has been my icebreaker for about maybe the last year with the team. I just ask them, let's talk about AI for a minute. And just that, I'll get everything from an eye roll to, oh, this is going to be fun. And I'll say, do you use it? Which model or company do you use if you use it? And how do you use it? Okay. Everybody's using it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. There's always one person that's like, cross their arms and go, I'm not going to use it ever. It's evil.
It's the Antichrist.
Right. Which we don't know. I mean, who knows exactly how it's all going to go. But I'm like, there's so many practical uses. Here's the point. Everybody's using it on your team.
That's right. And your church.
So we just have to be, proactive about it. So that's what this episode's about, right?
Yep. Let's get to a 1-page AI policy outline for you, 4 things you need to consider, and you can draft it in AI before the episode is over even.
So let's just start with one quick thing. What? Never to paste into a prompt. Okay. Now, last episode, we talked a little bit about crafting a letter with some information in it. And this is a little different, like bulk dumping of member data, giving records, anything with a name attached to it and a lot of private detail is just a no-go. Well, people may not know this, Doug, but like these AI models are, so do you know what GPT stands for? Maybe you do or don't.
I did, but I'm forgetting. Go ahead, man. I
know you did. Pre-trained transformer. So we don't know why it's named that, by the way, but the pre-trained part, the data, the information that you give it is what's training it, right? And how to reason and think. And people don't know that data you're giving it is actually now not only training it, which is actually maybe useful, but it's now available. For instance, if somebody wanted to query, give us, average giving data in churches across America, I mean, that's going to basically be querying data that you might have given it all the way down to names and who knows what else. And so here's a simple test to give to your staff. If you wouldn't put it on a postcard and mail it, then don't put it in a prompt.
Huh. That's
That's
good.
pretty simple. Now it's fine to paste a sermon outline, a generic bulletin, series actually of all your bulletins, so it learns your voice like we've talked about. But do not give it a giving report or a care list with needs. Maybe a conflict situation. We're finding, they just found out, Doug, this last week that AI is, we're still you talked about agentic AI, it kind of is operating on its own in some cases. Now,
Yeah.
I don't think it has bad intentions. It just doesn't know the boundaries at this
Yeah.
point. Right.
It just broke out. Do you know that? It just broke out and it tapped into the internet like in the last couple of weeks.
No,
Multiples.
so ChatGPT's latest models, and one they haven't even released yet, broke out and hacked into a private, the crowdsourced one. And the crowdsourced people didn't even know it was like, nobody knew that it was going on. So we just have to be cautious. Yeah.
And if you don't know this, like even these companies it's even more evidence of why you must get a policy in place in your church, because these companies are racing to get policies in place so that these things aren't happening, because that could be catastrophic if the AI gets out for them and for us. But
so now, just guard what you prompt and feed it, and we'll all watch together, because it's going to be an ongoing conversation where the safety and security rules emerge, right?
Yeah.
We don't really know. Yeah.
Yeah. So point number 2 of your AI policy is kind of a disclosure, when to tell people AI was involved. And the guiding principle we all need to be tracking with: disclosure scales with personal weight. The more personal message, the more clearly, unmistakably human it needs to be. So just remember that, the personal test under disclosing AI. Where disclosure of AI barely matters is like newsletter first draft, bulletin blurbs, internal notes. Some of these things we've covered before. Where it matters a lot, anything pastoral, you gotta be really careful. Anything from leadership about a decision, like this is how we're going to communicate about, especially what could be a controversial decision, and anything that could feel like a form letter. Do you remember the early days, man, with the little carrots? People would copy and paste the carrots in, and you're like, this is AI. I don't like. A simple rule for you, if you're listening: if you're using AI would embarrass you to admit that you're using it, then there's your answer. You should not be using.
That's right. So you've heard this saying, clarity is kindness, right? And I think that's true in like an AI policy. I think you want to free, another thing in this policy is you want to free your team up by explaining clearly what is a green light type thing and a red light, maybe even caution could be in there. And with no policy, you'll have people, it's a free-for-all, and you're at risk. And then you'll have people not using it. It can be create a lot of efficiencies right now. I mean, I heard productivity numbers were significantly up in, American business because of AI. Again, we don't know where it's all headed in the long term, but it can really help your team be productive. So again, just a short list of green light, first drafts, meeting notes, internal admin. Even with meeting notes, you may want to be clear, like, private meeting notes versus public meeting notes, what can be done and not. And then a red light list of like pastoral care items or disciplinary matters, personnel details. That's a no-go. And then, again, caution. I think my note there about a private meeting is a caution, right? Ask yourself a question: is what's being said in this room is something that can ever, be said or seen somewhere else? And just ask yourself that type of a question before you green light a private meeting being captured. As it said, you also heard it said, if it's been turned into ones and zeros, if it's been digitized, it's in the digital universe at that point, right? It's available probably to anyone and everyone in some way. So that's why we've got to be cautious in texting and emailing and all those things now with AI. it speeds up things with clear boundaries. Actually, now it'll actually get staff to engage, and we can learn together. And again, just walk through live. What's approved with your team? What's never allowed? The disclosure rule and rules, and who to ask when you don't know if it's clear or not. Who's kind of the policy chief on this if I'm in a fuzzy zone about it. So those would be things to be clear about.
That's great, Bart. Well, listeners, we've given you a great outline for your church AI policy. First off, what to never go in a chatbot. That's a super important one to make sure your staff understands. The disclosure, when do you tell people that you're utilizing AI? And then finally, the guardrails that really free your team to use it for its intended purposes of efficiencies and that instead of freezing them. And so kind of that rough outline, we'd encourage you this week. You can write this AI policy. You can use AI to do it, and then just make sure you read back through it and edit and add the touch of your group. So, hey, check out the executivepastor.io website. You're going to find all kinds of resources there for executive pastors, just like this practical podcast. Our goal is to equip you in this really new age of the executive leader and executive pastor leader in churches to have pragmatic tools that are helping you be way more efficient and in leading your church to this idea of personal ownership of the Great Commission. Thanks for tuning in and listening.